Okay. If you can see me, if you can hear me, I am testing back my microphone to be sure that it is on. If you can see me, if you can hear me, please let me know in the comment section. Let me know in the comment section so that I can know that you can see me and you can hear me. Okay.
Okay, I think Miss Christiana got pushed out of the phone. Miss Christiana, can you hear me? Okay, can someone in the comment section confirm if you can see and hear me? Is there anybody in the comment that can confirm if you can see and hear me? Can anybody confirm if they can see and hear me? Not talking, not talking. Yes, loud and clear. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. I don't know where the microphone Empress is. Maybe her network is playing a fast one on her. Yes. Thank you so much. We're just going to wait a little for some more people to join on the stream from the group. Miss Bemi, I hope you're sharing in the group. Let's get our people back into the stream. So tell me, how has the conference been so far for you? Let me see the fire emojis in the comment section. What have you carried from this conference so far? If you are thinking of one thing that you have heard this evening and you're like, this is it, this is my word, can I see that in the comment section? Can I see people telling me whether I have wasted my time or whether this conference is actually a divinely orchestrated conference for you? Jessica Mama, I can see you saying I can see and hear you. Thank you so much. So how has the conference been for you? I want to see your comment, because if I don't see comment now, if you just end this live stream, let all of us be going home if we're not getting anything. Lovely and interesting, Yoruba 20 TV. Thank you. How has it been for you? What have you taken away so far? So we've had Miss Leslie Grace talking about the money-making mindset. And then the 12 bangers is the icing on the cake. I know. Profit-oriented mindset. Exactly. Mind-blowing is the bomb. Exactly. That is what we want to hear. We are raising fire fashionpreneurs this year and beyond, because we don't want to just be doing business for doing sake. We don't be doing business, wasting time. You wake up in the morning, go to shop, come back. Structure is the backbone of every business, honestly. Honestly, because if you miss it, if you miss out on the structure, and I'm saying this as someone who has been there. Like, this conference was put together out of a very personal experience. I've been an entrepreneur, a fashion entrepreneur, for just about 16 years now. And when I say that there is nothing I have not seen, I think I can beat my chest and say that there is nothing I haven't seen. From treading the walls of the bespoke fashion entrepreneurship to moving it to ready to wear, it has been insane. Like, there's nothing I haven't seen. So when I say that, if you're sitting down in an unstructured place as a bespoke dressmaker especially, you need to move. And this conference is that time. This is that launch pad. This is that time that you hear it and you move. I don't want us to come out of this conference and then, 3 months down the line, 6 months down the line, we're still sitting down and we are talking about the same things we were talking about before the conference. I like to see growth. I like to see movement. And so if we can't find the microphone Empress, I'm going to go ahead and bring the next speaker to the stage. And the next speaker is someone who is very dear to me. She is a fashion educator, a fashion entrepreneur, and she does her fashion education via her page called The Fashion Architect. She is the best pattern maker you would ever meet, and you need her on your team, especially if you're planning to start or scale your ready-to-wear fashion business. And without much ado, I'm going to bring her right on stage. Join me in welcoming Lauren Henry.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Good evening. How has the conference been so far? I've heard that it's been mind blowing. It's been mind blowing, and I'm glad that you're here in this session now. Miss Rura, thank you so much for having me on this platform. Truly, I saw someone say that your passion speaks through, and it is the truth. From all of the conversations that we've had, before now and even now, your passion truly speaks through, and it's beautiful to see what you are doing for the fashion community and the fashion industry in Nigeria. So thank you very much, and thank you for having me, on the dressmaking that makes money conference.
Thank you.
So hello
I'm
everybody.
going to go up and let you
Should I
take the
introduce
floor.
myself?
Of
my
course
name
you
is
do.
my name is Lauren Henry. I've already been introduced, but my name is Lauren Henry. I am the fashion architect. Now, people always ask me, what do you do in fashion? What is the fashion architect? I am a pattern maker. I am a fashion consultant. I am a designer when I want to be. I am many things in fashion. So, but today I am your pattern making coach. And to start this session, I have one question for you. Everybody, I have one question for you. And I'm reading the comments right now, so I would need you to answer my question. How many of us make patterns right now? If we're here, then it means that we either have a passion for fashion, that is, maybe we've not started or we're about to start, or you've actually been in the business already and you're trying to upgrade, you're trying to do better. So in the comments right now, I want to know how many of us use patterns right now. Please drop it in the comments. I want to see. I'm taking a poll. How many of us use patterns? How many of us have learned pattern making? And how many of us use patterns in our businesses? Please drop it. Even if you don't, just say it. Oh, not yet. I want to learn. Just say something in the comments. I want to see the engagement. Oh, definitely. I know that Wura NG uses patterns. Okay, so I'm glad to see some, but I'm not seeing there are many people here, but I'm not seeing many comments. Ah, I see always, always. Now, for the people who use patterns, who used to do freehand before, tell me what's the difference between the two? For the people who use patterns now, who used to do freehand, tell me what the difference is, the difference you've noticed. We're doing this. The people who don't use patterns, please don't feel left out, which I just want to know who my people are for now. At the end of this class, I'm sure would all be one. Okay, I see somebody saying not always. Hmm. The person who said you're not sure why. I feel like if you use patterns, you use patterns. Somebody says that pattern making gives accuracy, and that's the truth. That's the truth. Okay. I'm glad to see that there are lots of people who understand. Somebody says it takes time, but it's worth it. I love that. I love that. Someone says occasionally. All right, thank you so much for all of your responses. I'm glad that most of us here know the importance of pattern making. But now we're moving to it's not just about knowing how to draft patterns, but we're trying to see how pattern making can help you make money, because this class or this session is about pattern making as the secret money making machine. Because a lot of us have been leaving money on the table simply because we either do not want to use patterns, or we do not use it very well, or we're not very efficient at the use of pattern making. And at the end of this class, I'm sure that a lot of us would shift from the place that we are to where we're supposed to be, to where we can start to grow in pattern making. So before I talk too much, let's go into my slides. Let's start this session. Are we ready? Are we gingered? Are we ready? Oh, thank you very much. So I'm going to go to my slides now. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get a hang of technology.
You can just tell me when you want to go on the
Aha.
next slide and I will move it on for you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, somebody is asking a question. Before I go into it, I see pattern making is different from pattern drafting. They're the same thing. You can either say pattern making and say pattern cutting. They all refer to the same thing at the end of the day. So I hope I've answered that question. But well, we're not supposed to be answering questions now. Miss, are we ready? I'm ready. I need the slides now if I can get it. Okay. Can I handle it myself? All right, so this session is pattern making mastery, the secret money making machine. I already talked about it, and we're just going to go into why all of these matters, why you need to, learn or use pattern making in your business. Because, like I said, a lot of us are leaving money on the table because we refuse to adopt this method. And the truth is, if you are joined the live that we had last week with Miss Wura, there was something I mentioned how designers abroad, fashion houses abroad do not discuss pattern making anymore. Is a non-negotiable for brands abroad. But it's sad that in Nigeria, it's still something we're discussing whether we should use patterns or we should not use patterns. And for me, that's really problematic. And if we're going to be able to scale our businesses, if we're going to be able to do better and produce better quality clothes consistently, then we need to adopt this model. It's not a question anymore in the global world, in the West. But over here in Nigeria, it's sad that we're still having this conversation. And I'm truly hoping that after this class, it will not be it will not be a thing for us anymore. With all of the how many people in this space, we would all know why it is important. And now let's go to our slides. We can see that in Nigeria, there's something I like to say. Talent is not our problem. We know Vicky James. Even you, I'm sure that there are people here that are super talented. Talent is not our problem. But I realize that our issue is replicating the things we make over and over again. This is where a lot of brands in Nigeria struggle. This is where a lot of us struggle. Because you see that somebody will make a nice piece. The whole point of this conference is to help you transition from the bespoke model to the ready to wear, to transition from the bespoke model to the ready to wear model. And if you're going to ever do ready to wear, then pattern making is a non-negotiable. And I realized that people who still stick to the freehand model, trying to do ready to wear, would always fail. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to put anybody down or place a curse on anybody, but it's the truth. If you choose that you want to do the freehand model as a ready to wear designer, you will definitely fail. Why? Your pieces will never be consistent. And at the end of the day, no matter how creative your designs are, no matter how talented you are, no matter how much people love your designs when they see them on Instagram, if they buy your pieces and they wear them and they do not fit the way it fits you in your pictures or the model in the pictures, then they cannot trust you. Then you've lost a customer. Then your business will never grow, because for business to grow, you need to be able to sell. But if you're not selling because you are having issues with fit, you're having issues with inconsistency, then you keep losing money and your business will not even do well. And the whole point of this conference is to make sure that we become profitable. And that's why I truly love that Miss Wura chose this topic as an important, part of the conference, because you cannot do without pattern making. I'm sorry, I can't see the comments. I need to see what you guys are saying in the comments. You truly cannot do without pattern making if you want to be consistent. And I believe I've talked about everything you see on the slides. Pattern making is not that thing that you just say, oh, we do, or we do it when we are making suits, but we don't do it when we're making boo-boos. That's not right. If somebody buys a boo from you today, if they come back in 6 months to buy the same boo, they expect to get the same thing. They expect to get the same fit. They expect that one line is not facing this way when the other one that they bought was facing this way. They expect consistency. But if you do not make patterns, then it will be difficult for you to give them, that consistency. It will be difficult for them to come back and find the same thing the next time. And this is the reason why pattern making is truly a non-negotiable. It's not that thing you just do when you are making things that are technical. Because I realize that when it comes to corsetry, people want to make patterns. But when it comes to things that seem simple, then they believe that pattern making is not important. But for me, one of the major things that I would say, beyond the part of it that, the fact that pattern making gives you accuracy, pattern making also is important for you to be able to achieve consistency in your designs. And for me, at the end of this class, I want to, make sure that you first understand why, what pattern making really is, because I realize that some people do not know. Some people just think that is that thing people do that I don't know, they do it to waste time, or people who are not really, I've heard somebody say that pattern that people who make patterns are actually not very skilled, that the people who do freehand, for them, those are the people who understand it. And I don't get it. Because the truth is, with freehand, the kinds of designs that you can even make are limited. Pattern making, it exposes you to a whole world of possibilities that you'd have probably never been able to do, or it would have been more difficult for you to achieve with freehand. And if there's somebody who can relate with this particular point, please drop it in the comments. Because tell me how you can slash and spread. For people who make patterns, can you slash and spread on fabric? You cannot. You can definitely not slash and spread on fabric. So this is why, like I said, the freehand method, which we have loved so far, is truly limiting and we cannot keep sticking to it. And you're also going to see how pattern making influences both garment fit and brand perception. I think I've already sort of, introduced you to that. But at the end of this class, you will definitely realize how it affects your fit, the fit of the clothes that you create. And then it will also help you understand, or it will help understand that great pattern making system helps your brand meet global production standards, attract international buyers, and also build markets across the world, or build across markets. Now, this particular point, right? I sort of mentioned it. In Nigeria, we're used to manage it like that. But if you ever want to sell abroad, then there are things that they just do not joke with. You cannot tell somebody that you've sold them, or they bought a size 12 outfit from you. You show them your size guide, they chose a size, then it gets to them and it doesn't fit them. Now, in Nigeria, we might forgive you, we might be able to send it back to you, but the client that is abroad cannot send it back to you. They don't even understand why this would happen, because they literally bought a size 12, they checked your size guide and they chose their size, but it doesn't fit them. Now, this is just one little way that it can affect, your general brand perception. And it will also help you rethink your systems, and it will help you invest in technical skills. I've heard somebody say that technical skills are not important, and there's nothing further from the truth. There's truly nothing further from the truth. You can have, like I said earlier, you can have all of the talents in the world, you can have the great business acumen, but if you do not have good products, if your products do not fit, what business do you have? So technical skills are truly a non-negotiable. It doesn't mean you have to do it yourself, but technical skills, like I said, are non-negotiable, and it's something that we have to, we have to be conscious in investing. We have to invest in. Now, let's still keep going. What is pattern making? This is one question. I don't know. Can somebody in the comments? I like to ask questions. I was telling Miss Rura earlier that I like to have, I like physical sessions because I like to ask questions. But please, can somebody in the comments just tell us what they believe pattern making is? Tell me what you believe, whether or not you've been making patterns or you've never made patterns. Just tell me what you believe pattern making is. What is your understanding of pattern making? Just a quick one. I just need the first person who can tell me that. I believe the comments will pop up and I'll be able to see it. Someone says with patterns they can go crazy. As I want with a single sleeve. Okay, minimize fabric waste and correct mistakes. Perfect, perfect. This is what pattern making gives you. I did not mention earlier that one of the reasons why I call myself the fashion architect is actually because of, because I'm a pattern maker. Now, pattern making is the architecture of fashion. Just as if you want to build a house, you cannot start to build a house without a structural plan, without getting an architect to give you what they call those things, a plan, the blueprint. This is what pattern making also is. Now, you can design the greatest style, you can design a vavavoom thing, but if you cannot bring it to life, using pattern making, then your design is useless. And you see a lot of fashion illustrators, you see people who are creative designers, they can draw, but without the skill, the technical skill to create the design, your design is useless. You have to be able to bring it to life. Now, this is what pattern making is. It is you creating templates that end up becoming the design. It's you creating the blueprint for the design. And obviously all of this has to do with measurements, It has to do with measurement of either the person you are creating for, if you're doing a bespoke, something bespoke or custom, or the standard measurement, or like a dress form. You cannot make patterns without measurements. Measurements are extremely important. And that's one thing I must say now, that if you cannot take measurements accurately, if you measure people, and then I've had some people, they say they measure somebody, then they end up making the outfit, and they realize that it's like the outfit is two times bigger than the person. There are things that are not accurate. You have to be able to perfect your measurements when it comes to pattern making. And maybe as a tip, these are things that you get if you get my class, my pattern making course. But just as a tip, you cannot, if you take measurements right now in just inches, especially if you're drafting patterns, then there are many things that will end up affecting your accuracy. One of the major things when it comes to measurements is working with centimeters. Now, when I say there are people who fight this, but when I say use centimeters, is even if you check your tape, there are smaller numbers that you can use in the centimeters to be able to achieve a better accurate fit than when you just use inches, where you end up approximating things. I don't know why I took up this tangent, but I feel like somebody would need this particular tip, where if you're struggling with your measurements right now, if you're a pattern maker already and you're struggling with measurements, maybe you're not working with the right, or maybe you're not working with centimeters. That's the reason why you're having those discrepancies in your measurements. So just in case somebody might need that, I've explained what pattern making is, and it is the method that translates creative designs into precise technical plans that can be followed during production. Now, if you have a production house, if you're a ready to wear designer and you're producing things, then for you to be able to create one design in 1,000 pieces, tell me, please, I'm looking at the comments. Is it possible? We're all human. Do you think it is possible for me as a person, no matter how good I am, for me as a person to make 1,000 pieces, 1,000 units of a design, and there won't be mistakes? I'm doing it without patterns now. It means I'm using the same measurement. I have to remember, oh, this thing was, how wide was that shoulder again? It was 12 cm, or it was 5 inches. Okay, okay, okay. I'll now do it. I'll now go to the waist. How wide was the waist again? I'll now be checking. These are where inconsistencies come from. So this is why pattern making, once you have a pattern, you don't have to adjust things unless you want to adjust things. You can just work with that same pattern to create 1,000,000 pieces of a particular design. So this definitely helps you create those creative designs into precise technical plans that can be followed during production. Then it is the basis for consistent fit, ease of production, and quality control. Now, I've spoken about this already. I've talked about this already. It is also the system that allows your designs to be replicated in multiple sizes, adapted into new styles, and produced with consistency. Now, I've mentioned the consistency part for a particular size, but also, have you made a design in a base size? Let's say you were trying to make your samples and you made your design in a size 10, but now you have a client who wants that same design in a size 18 or a size 20. Tell me in the comments, do you think, would you have to start to draft or make a new, would you have to cut a new thing? Would you have to make a new, I don't know if you get, do we understand my question? So you've made a particular style in one size, somebody now wants it in a size 20 or size 22. What pattern making helps you, let me just answer the question. What pattern making helps you do is that you can even grade up or grade down without having to start that design from scratch. So you can make multiple sizes of one particular design without having to go back to, oh, how should this thing be, without changing too much of the design. Because something, you might make a particular style in one size and you want to recreate it in a different size and it will not work. But because you have a pattern, it is easy for you to grade up or grade down. This is one of the reasons why pattern making is absolutely important, especially as people who are trying to transition into the ready to wear system. It is too important. And then obviously we also have, it helps with production consistency. We've talked about that already. Now, this is the money equation. One of the reasons why it is very important for you to, create patterns, here we have that it reduces wastage. Um, I would say this goes in two ways. Wastage, one, as when you make patterns, it is easy for you to be able to manage your fabric or maximize the use of your fabric with the way you place the patterns on the fabric. I wish I had a picture to show you a pattern layout on fabric. Whereas if you were working freehand or working without patterns, there are ways that as much as you want to manage fabric, you cannot really manage the fabric because you don't even know how much you are using. You are creating every piece as you are cutting. But with pattern making, because the patterns have already been created, all you are doing is that you are placing on the pattern, on the fabric, in ways that you maximize the use of your fabric. Now, even with, I'll move to even fit consistency much later, we'll see that. But when you create a piece and it doesn't fit and you have to start again, that piece that did not fit properly, or that fit that did not look right, that outfit that did not look right, is would end up being waste because you cannot sell it, you cannot use it, so that thing is waste. This is one of the ways that pattern making, this is how, if you don't do patterns, you end up having waste. But pattern making helps you reduce this waste. Now, pattern making also reduces rework. I'll give you an example. You are making a design. It happens even with the best of us. You're making a design. You've even made a pattern for that design. But when you made your sample or you made your toile, which is like the prototype of that design, you might end up seeing that it doesn't look right. Oh, this thing, I wanted the shoulder to be more narrow. Now it is too wide. Let me fix that. If you were not working with a pattern, you would have to start that new thing from scratch. And even when you start from scratch, there's certain things that might end up being different. But because you have a pattern already, all I'm doing is that I'm going on that pattern and I'm taking it in, or I'm adjusting whatever I need to adjust. I'm not starting from scratch. So it even reduces how much, even when you have to rework, it reduces how much work you have to do. And because you've even made a pattern and you've gone through the process, so I'll tell you the process of the pattern making process. You take your measurements, you make your pattern, you test that pattern in a prototype. Now, this prototype, you test it in very cheap fabric, calico, you can use lining. You just test what that pattern looks like to see if you were able to achieve the design or even achieve the perfect fit. Now, after you move from that prototype, which is called a toile, you now move to the sample. Now, this sample is made in the actual fabric. This is when you're trying to see if it, like my jacket, oh, I make a sample of my jacket. I want to see that it looks exactly as I had imagined it. It looks exactly as I designed it. That's what you get in the sample. Now, it's after sample that you then move into production. But now, if you just went from, oh, I've designed something, then I go and buy the fabric for the jacket and I start to cut. What if I make a mistake? What if what I thought was that design? Sometimes we think of something, we think we know how to achieve it. Then you make the design and realize, oh, this thing does not look right. But you've already cut it in the actual fabric. Please tell me in the comments, has this happened to anybody? You made something, you wanted to start, you wanted to produce something, you made it and it did not look right because you made it in the actual thing. But if you had just gone through the actual process where you made a toile, then you moved to the sample before you started producing, before you made the actual thing, it would have, helped you reduce the time that you'd have wasted, to help you reduce the possibility of reworking anything. Are we together? I just need to know that I'm not speaking to myself and you guys are learning, you guys are following along as I'm talking.
Yes, we're
Please.
here.
Um,
We're here.
okay, thank you. I wanted to be sure that I wasn't just talking to the screen. I think I've lost my slides. Okay. Yeah, sorry, I have to be faster. I'm a big talker. So yeah, there's another point of you depending on your tailor. I've heard people. I remember one time I was in a salon and there was a lady who obviously was a fashion entrepreneur, a fashion designer. And I think it was during Christmas and she needed a tailor to make something, but the tailor wasn't there. And she was literally begging this person. She was literally begging this person, oh, we need to cut this thing, we need to do this, we need to do that. The truth is that if only this lady had patterns for that design that she was going to make, then if she could sew herself, she wouldn't need to depend on the tailor to come and cut. There are lots of people who go into this business and they just think, hey, I'll hire a tailor, the tailor will cut for me and they'll make the clothes. But you're depending too much. You're giving too much to somebody who does not care about your business as much as you care about your business. And that's a big problem. But if only you had the technical skills, or at least you hired somebody who has the technical skills to make these patterns, then all you have to do is, you're not depending too much. Your tailor knows you're only here to join the clothes. I'm not depending on you to cut. It just reduces that level of dependence. Then I think I've spoken about consistency already. I've also sort of mentioned speed. If you've made a pattern already, then you don't have to go back to designing again from scratch. You don't have to go back to drafting a pattern or cutting from scratch. All you're doing is you're placing the pattern. If you're making another unit of that thing, you're just placing and you're cutting and you're going. So it increases production efficiency, increases your speed in production. Then it also mentions quality here. Now there are certain cutting techniques that you can never get if you decide to just stick to freehand. Pattern making gives you, like I said earlier, it gives you a level of accuracy. If I mention grain lines now, there are many people here who may not know what I'm talking about. Whereas that is a very, very important aspect of cutting. You cannot say that you are a good fashion, you cannot say you're a good I don't even want to say fashion designer. You cannot say you make good clothes if you do not check your fabric grains or your grain line. So these are some of the things where it increases the quality of your clothes. Obviously, like I said, if you decide to get a pattern making course, you will learn some of these things. We cannot go too deeply into it. Then I also mentioned here that increases your confidence in scaling. Now, if I've been mentioning you making 1,000 pieces of a particular design. If you're not sure that you can produce 1,000 pieces, then you just cannot. But then if you know that you're already working with patterns, then there's that level of confidence that you know that you can, there's nothing, that you're unstoppable. You're truly unstoppable. Then there's a last point here. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's the last point. And then we'll move to the next slide. I hope we're learning. I hope we're listening to everything I'm saying. Oh, I'm seeing somebody saying cross grain and bias grain. Yeah. So then the cost of inconsistency. Now, I guess this is where some of us are not, we don't know what we're losing. We don't know what we're leaving on the table because we have refused to, or because we do not want to adopt pattern making. Now, I've already mentioned some of them, so I'll just run through all of this. We have wasted fabrics, wasted materials from repeated errors and corrections. I gave you the entire pattern making process. You have a design, you make the pattern for the design, you make a prototype, which is a toile. And if the prototype does not look right in terms of fit or how you're able to achieve the design, then you go back to the drawing board, you go back to the pattern. But if you keep going from, let me just cut this thing, I know how to cut it, and you're cutting on actual fabric, then you are losing. You're actually losing a lot of money. You're wasting fabric, and you're also, wasting time because you keep going back to fix errors that you would have just handled in your pattern and sampling process. Then extended sampling cycles that delay production timeline. I've already talked about that because you keep going back to fix things that your pattern would have just helped you sort out. I mentioned slash and spread. Let's say you want to achieve a very wide sleeve, but your freehand cannot just help you achieve that thing. Your freehand cannot help you achieve it. So you keep going back trying to find new ways to do it. Whereas if you had just had it, if you knew how to make patterns, it would be easy for you to achieve that. So there's you get to reduce production time. And then unreliable fit that discourages repeat customers. Let me be honest with you. If I buy an outfit for you from you today, let's say I buy a pair of trousers from you today, and I want a new pair in 6 months. It's not like I've added weight, so I need a new color, or I just need new trousers from you. If the second one does not fit me like the first one I bought, I may not come back because I'll know that I cannot trust you. And pattern making here helps you build that brand trust, and it's very, very important. Sometimes we think that branding is just how you look on the outside, all the colors, your logo, and all of that. Your brand is everything. It's everything. It's all the ways that your customers perceive you. Now, if they cannot trust that you will give them consistent outfits, that whenever they come to buy stuff from you, your size 12 is your size 12. If they cannot trust that, then you're going to end up losing customers, because somebody like me, I will not come back. I just will not, because I won't want to keep wasting money. I don't want, sometimes people don't want the back and forth. They don't want the drama that comes with, they don't want the drama that comes with all the back and forth. Oh, and no refund. I know these days we're talking about no refund. If they bought the thing, there's no refund again. So people don't like all of that drama. They want to make sure that if they have something, if they buy something from you, it can be consistent over time. Your sizes are consistent. Then we mentioned high dependence on specific tailors. I've already sort of talked about that. There's the damaged brand reputation due to inconsistent quality. I also, mentioned that. Then there's a lost revenue from cancelled orders, returns, and poor referrals. Now, I sort of mentioned that also. If I'm not happy with it, I cannot refer you. If I'm not happy with it, I will not want to waste my money. I would want my money back. These are the ways that you are losing money, because you are not giving your client consistency. Now, I mentioned earlier, consistency could be in terms of fit, it could be in terms of the design. Now, I've seen people say, I've seen there's a particular brand I've watched over the years. They post pictures, like they post pictures of amazing trousers, amazing pants, like the fit on the model that wears them is always amazing. But every time I see people, their customers wear the same trousers, it doesn't fit the same way. Somebody like me, I will not want to buy from this brand because I cannot trust them. I will not feel like I can trust them. It doesn't make sense that your pictures look one way, but then the things that your customers buy is a different thing. So you're losing a lot of money because of cancelled orders. If my clothes don't fit right, I'll return them. If yeah, returns too. Poor referrals, I will not ask people to buy from you. So I hope we're seeing the ways that we're losing money. If you are, if these are some of the things you struggled with, please tell us in the comments so that you know that you're not alone. Some of us have suffered it. Let's know that we're not alone, and let's know that that's why we're here to learn, so that we can do better. Because at the end of the day, it's not just that we stay in that place where we feel like, oh, we're not doing well. The goal is for us to always do better, to consistently do better, and that's why we're here today. So if you've had those issues, please drop it in the comments. Let's see your stories. um Now let's get to the mindset shift. I think we're getting to the end of this. You don't need to become a pattern maker, but as a brand owner, you must understand how patterns impact fit, how it impacts your production, and how it impacts your product quality. Now, I sort of mentioned earlier that we need technical skills. These technical skills do not always have to be from you. I always advise people that no matter how big you want your brand to be, no matter how many tailors or pattern makers you want to hire, I would always advise every designer to have every technical skill. Now, why is this important? It's important for quality control, because you may not be the one making the patterns, you may not be the one sewing the clothes, but because you have the technical skills, it is easy for you to identify problems when they show up. This is why it is important for every designer, all of us here. I would advise all of us here to have the technical skills. But it doesn't mean that you have to be the one making these things. You don't have to be the one making the patterns. You don't have to be the one producing the garments. But it's important to have technical skills. And obviously, you can hire pattern makers. There are freelance pattern makers. You can hire me to produce your patterns. There are people you can hire a pattern maker in house. Whatever you want to do, having a pattern maker in your brand, in your company, is a non-negotiable. So delegating without understanding leads to inconsistency, delays, and avoidable mistake. Now, like I said, you have to have the understanding of things to be able to supervise. I see somebody say you can supervise, correct, instruct with confidence, because you know it. So you see, because you have a good understanding, you can delegate. But if you delegate when you don't know, that's a problem. Who has struggled here? I believe that many of us must have struggled with tailors telling us if something is not possible. You've given a tailor a particular design to make, and they're telling you, madam, this thing is not possible. If you have the technical skills, if you have the pattern making knowledge, nobody can tell you that, because you know what is possible and you know what is not. So this is why having a good understanding of pattern making is important as a brand owner. Now, when you also understand the technical side, you can design with clarity, you can lead your team better, and you can also avoid costly mistakes. Now, we've covered many of these things already because I've told people, I've seen, it's so funny how I see people who are creative designers, they're very creative, in fact, even illustrators, they design a lot of things. But sometimes me as a pattern maker, I might see something, I'll tell you, this thing is not possible. Or this thing that is, or it cannot work this way. As you have it this way, it cannot work. Now, it's not a limiting mindset, it's that because I have the technical skills, I know what's doable and I know what's not. I know when, okay, we might need to pivot into this thing, to something else. Now, because you have pattern making skills, it even helps you become a better designer because you know what's possible, you know what's not. In fact, I tell people that for a pattern maker should have a designer should have the knowledge of everything. You should be able to make patterns, you should be able to sew, so that even as you're designing, oh, at this point we need a flat fell seam. Now, that might seem like a sewing thing. It might seem like it's for my tailor to know. But because you are the designer, you know that a shirt should have a flat fell seam. You would even add it in your design. You will be the one to tell the tailor this thing needs a flat fell seam. Now, I've even gone into sewing. But all I'm saying is that as a designer, you need to have the technical skills. You have to be backed by the technical side so that you can design well. You can also lead your team better. Like I said, you know what's possible, you know what's not. You know how to push them beyond their own limits. You know how to be a better team lead. And it also helps you avoid costly mistakes. We've already talked about all the ways that we've been losing money. So we need to do better. Now, what can you do? What can you start doing now? The first thing here is that you need to learn the core principles of drafting enough to supervise and evaluate. If you've not taken a pattern making class, and I don't mean the ones that you are doing on YouTube, if you've not taken a proper pattern making class, then you have a problem. You need to be able to take a pattern making class so that you, like I said, you can supervise your tailors and you can even do quality control. You need to also start to build a base size chart that reflects your brand's body, that reflects your brand's standard. Now, I have a video on sizing where some of us just go and copy people's size charts and you don't know why. Every brand is supposed to have their custom size chart because they know who their women are, they know who they're designing for. For you to be able to build a custom size chart for your brand, you need to have pattern making knowledge to be able to do that. So this is something that if you take a class, or if you already have pattern making knowledge and you have not yet built a size chart for your brand, you need to do that. Especially as many of us here might be trying to transition into ready to wear, the ready to wear model, you need to have a standard size chart. Your size 12 should be size 12. You should not have it should not be, it should just be, you should have a standard size chart, something that works, something that you have tested based off of the people who you sell to. You need to have that. You need to also standardize your sampling process. I gave you the general process when it comes to designing. You make your patterns, you make your twirls, then from twirls you make whatever corrections you need to make, then you move to sampling. Now, by the point where you've made your samples, this is where you can now, if you made your samples, you can decide, does it look right, does it not look right, should we go back to the drawing board? But you need to standardize the sampling process. You should not go from design to making the actual thing. That's not right. Especially as you're trying to make multiple pieces of that outfit, you should never go from design to making actual outfit. You need to go through all of this. You need to go through this process. You need to also stop relying on just so it's like the last one. Now, you made shirts, it looked nice, the person likes it, and they've come back for a second one. You now tell your tailor, you remember that top wey we make now? Let's just do another, but we dey do am again, na the same woman and the same measurement. No, that's not right. If you had a pattern, you will not have to do that, because the tailor who you are trusting to remember the person's measurements or to remember the design may forget. That tailor may make mistakes. Things may not come out right. You might think, oh, this is how the dart was here, but then the dart was lower. Things might just be different. But because if you're going to choose pattern making from now on, you'll be able to create with consistency every single time. Then it will also help you build a culture that respects process and not guesswork. This is why I would always speak against freehand. There's a lot of guesswork. There's a lot of assumptions when it comes to freehand. There's nothing you're going to tell me. There's a thing where I've been in a freehand setting before, so I know, where they tell people, shoulder na 8.5. Yeah, not shoulder, arm hole is 8.5. They're like those some of those standards that they give you that is not actually right. I was talking about accuracy in measurements the other time. You cannot be making assumptions when it comes to people's measurements. You would always get the wrong fit if you are making assumptions when it comes to measurements. So, pattern making, or from now on, you need to be able to build that culture that respects the process, that does not just go through guesswork. So, everybody who is on this call, who is in this class, if you do not make patterns already, please, I need you to start making patterns. And if you are a designer here who, you've been designing clothes, or you're making your some things that you make with patterns, some things you don't make with patterns, you're still leaving money on the table. You're still leaving money on the table because those things that you're not making patterns for, they are causing you problems that you probably do not even realize. If you go and check your books, if you go and check your customer feedback, you might then see that there are people who have not been happy because you thought it's just a boo-boo now. Boo-boo now just to cut them. No. You're leaving money on the table because you're not embracing consistency. So can I have my slides back, please? For the final note, I want to make sure I'm not forgetting anything to tell the people. um I've already mentioned how talent is really not enough. Talent is definitely not enough, and you need to be able to create the systems that allows you to produce consistently over and over again. I'm sure you have heard a lot from this conference, from the beginning to this point. Like I said, you can have every other part covered. If you don't have the technical part covered, you do not have a product. If you do not cover technicalities of designing, then you do not have a good product. And for you to be able to scale as a business, for you to be able to be profitable as a business, you need to have a good product. Then I think we should even take questions. I'm seeing somebody asking if pattern making is necessary for a male designer. Pattern making is necessary for everybody as long as you're making clothes. Even if you're making children's wear, it is important for you to make patterns. I've told you the whole point of pattern making is to help you, produce consistently in terms of fit, and in terms of how you achieve your designs. So whether you are a male designer, you're a children's wear designer, you're a dog designer, I'm sorry, I have a dog, so maybe that's why I thought of that. Whatever it is you're designing for, you need to be able to make patterns for them. That's the only way you can create consistently over and over again, and you can serve your clients, you can make your clients happy. You can even think of scaling, because like I said, you cannot be thinking of making 1,000 units of something if you don't make patterns. It's only with pattern making that you can do that. I think there was another question. It has passed. What standard pattern making should we practice? There's no standard pattern making. There are many methods. There are people who have come up with different methods when it comes to pattern making. I will tell you to choose the one that works best for you. Whatever one you choose, whether it is Helen Armstrong, if it is Winifred Aldrich, if it's there's another one that I do not use. Everybody knows that other one. I've forgotten it now. Whatever method. For someone like me, I've used every single method, so I don't even hold on to any of them. I have a Helen Armstrong physical textbook here. I have the different Winifred Aldrich textbooks. I do not choose anybody. If I want to learn something, I want to perfect something, I just go and choose who can help me achieve it, what can help me achieve it. And the truth is, I've ended up even developing my own methods, because with everybody here, if you're a pattern maker, or if you've even if you've delved into pattern making, then you'll know that you always end up finding your own ways of doing things. So there's no standard pattern making, but obviously do not do it without any of these textbooks. I would advise you to use all of them. I've made patterns using all the different textbooks, but I've also, like I said, developed my own pattern, because at the end of the day, I've developed my own method, because at the end of the day, it is about what works best for me, what is easier for me, or what helps me achieve my precision every time. So Lauren's method, the fashion architect's method, might seem different from others. That's why I'm saying that there's no standard. I think I'm open to other questions now. Please, let's ask our questions. My time is already gone. Okay, somebody's yeah, Natalie Bray. Thank you so much. It's Natalie Bray. I was trying to remember. Somebody says connect me to a pattern maker. I'm a pattern maker. Reach out. um, somebody is saying for starters, Helling is easier. There are people who will tell you that Natalie Bray is easier. So there's actually nothing. To be honest, I started with Helen Armstrong, but I've used every other one since then. When it comes to making blogs, I tend towards Winifred Aldrich a little more. But again, like I said, I've still been able to develop my own method. So it might seem like I'm using Winifred Aldrich, but I'm also using Lauren. Yeah, so are there any other questions for me? Or should we call it a night? Thank you so much, Faiza. Thank you so much, Faiza. Thank you for engaging too. So yeah, if you've learned something, please drop it. If you don't have any questions for me, it means that you're saying that you learned well. It means that the class was good and you learned. So drop in the comments, the things that you learned. Tell me the things that what you are taking away from this class. I need to know.
Very brilliant students. I used to have this lecturer in uni then. If he says, any questions? No questions. Very brilliant student. Only he will ask whether there's question. Only you answer that there's no. Only he will tell you very brilliant student. This is a banger. Banger.
Hey.
The microphone and press on the stage so that she can take it away before I come back in.
Hello, Miss Christiana. I think your mic is off.
I
I can't
can
hear
hear
you.
you.
Okay.
Oh, can you hear me?
Somehow, I think your
No,
network is a bit bad.
it's the network, I think.
Oh, bless her. Oh, God. This network has made her to not.
Let me see
Oh,
if I
so
can.
sorry. Okay, we just heard you now. It's in and out. It's in and out. It's in and out. That's what's happening. Sorry.
So sorry about that.
Sorry.
Okay, so if you are on this live stream and you have learned a thing or two from the fashion architect, I want to see the fire emojis. Drop them down there.
Drop
Tell us,
them, drop
what
them,
did
drop them.
you learn? What did you learn? I'll say what I learned. She said that number one, every designer should have every technical skill. I literally cannot say this enough. Because there was a post I made on our Instagram page once. I was like, the absolute thing that you must do before you think of starting a ready to wear line is that you must master your craft.
Yeah.
That is, you must have an in-depth mastery of your craft. If you wake me up from my sleep now and you put a dress on a mannequin and it has a problem, I will tell you.
You will see it.
From
Yeah.
my dream, I will even see the problem. In fact, the people that work for me are just like, if madam will see it, don't bother. Because you see, when you have honed your technical skills over the years, whether you are actively sewing or not, you are able to actually lead as a leader should. And you see, one of the reasons why our fashion businesses are not profitable is that we don't know where to block the leakage because we don't have the technical skills. So when a tailor is telling you that it will take you 4 yards, something that you can use 2.5 yards with your partner,
Yeah.
you don't even
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
You don't even know. Maybe they've even diverted the remaining 1.5. By the time you give them, maybe they're supposed to do so 5 things. You've given them 20 yards. They've collected inside the 20 yards. That 20 yards would have given you 8. But because you can't do patterns and you can't guide them, and you don't even know that, no, this thing that you're saying is not making sense. How can you tell me I
That's
need
the
40?
problem when you don't
That's where
even
your
know.
money is going to. So when we are talking about this profitability, it looks like an abstract concept, but it is not. And it starts with
This is the
mastery.
places you're losing money. No production efficiency. Uh-oh. Am I the one who is lost? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. I think I
Okay,
went off for a
okay,
little while.
okay, okay.
Yes. So it starts with mastery, really. It starts with mastery. If you don't master your craft, you cannot do it well. And
Yeah.
so when the fashion architect says gain mastery. You need to gain mastery. Now, let me tell you what the fashion architect can do for you. Lauren has the most amazing pattern blocks, which you can buy. So if you want to get pre-made pattern blocks, so you don't have mastery, but you want to now get pattern blocks, and then from those blocks, you can now graduate. Miss Lauren is the person for you. Miss Lauren, I actually already referred, I think, one or two people to you from the group who were asking for a pattern
Oh
maker. Miss
wow,
Lauren
wow.
also develops patterns for brands. So if you're starting or you already own a ready-to-wear brand, and maybe you're working with production companies, you don't want to produce in-house, but you want to be able to have someone work with you through the designing process, make the patterns, and then you guys test it on a trial and all that before you send it off for mass
The
production.
production.
Lauren is the person for you. Now, if you want to learn how to do this thing yourself, how do we do pattern making? Miss Lauren has self-paced courses that helps you to be able to learn from the comfort of your home. And if you are in Abuja and you want to learn, she offers one-on-one consultation for fashion brands. So she can come to your brand and she can teach you and your staff. So one stone, you kill like four birds. You just do a technical
Yeah.
and you teach all your staff how to make this pattern so we can get it on. Now, the person asking, how do we get a size chart for pattern making? Now, size charts are things that have to be developed, but in the 12 in one bundle, which I have created, there are sample size charts using the UK, US, and European sizes. Now, based on those UK, US, and European sizes, you can now develop your own size chart. And what do we
Yeah.
mean that you can develop your own size chart? So let's say the UK size 8 is a 34 bust, and the US size 8, or no, the UK size 8 is a US size 4, and is a European 30, 34, 36, something like that.
I don't know the
You can
European
now
size
say,
one.
funny enough, European sizes are the most accurate sizes
I
because they are using
realized.
natural bone measurements. Yes, so they are actually for ready to wear. I think that's the most accurate sizing chart, European sizes. But that's by the way.
I think for me, like I said, there's a thing where I don't just work with the standard sizes. I
Yes, you
still make
develop
sure
your
that
own. So
they're
that's what I
adapted
was
for our
saying.
people. Uh-huh.
So when you now have that standard of UK
Yeah,
and European, because again, you're not you're a global brand. So you're not designing for just one set of people. You cannot
yeah.
say, okay, who is my ideal customer? Not our people. Who am I
Mm,
designing for? If you are
yeah.
designing for US people, design US brands.
Design
Do
for
you
them,
understand?
yeah.
When you
Yeah.
know who your ideal customer is, and that's why there's a
Design for those people.
know your
Yeah.
customer guide inside that bundle. When you know who you're designing for, you now ask that this is my ideal customer. What is this person like? What is the sample size that represents these people the most?
Yeah.
Are they more curvy? Are they more slim? Are they slimmer up or bigger up? Are they,
Do
and
they
then you
have
now
wider waists?
do they have wider waist? Thank you. Do they have a tummy? So those are the things that you now put into consideration in creating your own sizes. But for you to be able to create your own sizes, you must first have a foundation of what this whole size creation thing is all about. It's
Yeah.
not going, you're not going to pull out size creation out of the air. You're going to have to actually start from somewhere and then develop. Just like Miss Lauren says with the pattern making, you start from the base, you start from what we all know. And then when you do this, you take different people, you're not able to develop what is your own signature. And that's what makes you stand out. So
Yeah.
what we have done with the guides is that we have given you somewhere to start. Is a starting point. And then from there, you cannot, because you see, the problem that we have is that we have no form of documentation and systemization. That is the problem we have with our fashion businesses. I know because I was there. I was there. There's nothing documented in your, everything is on vibes. You just enter, hey, you people, what are we producing today? Oh, hey, 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 you talk, boom, 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 you finish, you go home. Tomorrow you come back again. No production scheduling, no, so you will say,
Okay.
just like okay, I think it was Miss Adede that was saying, oh, someone talks to your customer somehow. You don't have an order fulfillment SOP. You don't know. So when someone goes into the DM, what are they supposed to say? What's the first thing? Good evening, ma'am. Thank you for reaching out. How can I help you today? You need to have it written down. And that's what we've created for you. So that you have made for you templates, which you can now adapt to fit your own business needs. So let's summarize. Ms. Lauren has shared with us that if you need to be able to systemize, and scale when it comes to production, you cannot do it without patterns. If you like, you
Impossible.
hear it. If you like, you don't hear. But the problem is that if you don't hear, we'll be back here next year singing the same song. But me, I will not be with you. I would have left you. Me, I've even
Mhm.
left you already. But the people that are here that we hear it would have also left you. That's the thing. So when you're singing, we'll be like, we are no more there. Oh. We've moved on to other things to solve other problems. You know. So please, if you need a pattern maker, just go to Miss Lauren. See,
If you want
me,
to learn how to draft patterns, still reach out to me. We carry on from there.
learn how to draft is size chart for male and female. Yes, it's for male and female. You want to learn how to draft. You want someone to train your team. You want one-on-one session. You want to train yourself. CEO, anyone you want. And if you want her to do made for you, she's also excellent at doing that. So whatever level of your fashion business you are in, and you need help, just reach out to her. Her handle is the fashion. I'm going to drop it in the comments right now. Or Miss Lauren, can you drop it for me?
The fashionarchitect.co.
Yes, I
That's
know.
it.
Yes.
Um,
And tell us, are
uh,
you on Facebook, Instagram?
yeah, on
Um,
every platform, it's the fashionarchitect.co.
okay, so
Follow me there
across
and we
all
can
platforms.
continue the conversation.
Yes, let's continue the conversation. So thank you, Miss Lauren. You guys, what are we telling Miss Lauren? Please give Miss Lauren something fire. She's the last speaker for the night. So like
Tell me
send
sweet
her out with
things.
an ovation. MC is our MC. MC, I need you here. Oh. Is your microphone back on? Can we hear you now?
It's still the same.
Oh, bless you. This network.
Yes, I can.
Oh no, I can't hear you.
It's still in and out.
No, no. Oh my God. All right.
All right, so whoever
So,
is interested in taking my courses, just reach out. There might just be something special for you guys coming soon. Remember, we discussed
Ooh.
taking it off
Yeah.
self-paced to act. There might be something. So reach out, and we'll take it off from there. But you
Very.
cannot, like I said, you cannot remain where you are. We need to switch. We need to make the switch. So please reach out.
Thank you so much, Miss Lauren, and
Thank you so
have
much,
a
Miss Ura. I'm
good,
so
good
happy.
and
Thank you
beautiful
so much for
evening.
having
Thank you
me
so
here.
much for joining on this call and for sharing your wealth of knowledge and experience. And we
Thank
did
you, my
enjoy your
pleasure.
beautiful smile.
Thank
Have a
you.
So, fashion entrepreneurs, where are we? Thank you, Faiza, for telling me, for putting it together. Yoruba Toyin, I know you are a male fashion designer. I know. Drop everything you want to drop in the platform. We are on that group because we are there to give you community support until about a week after the conference, after which we'll decide whether we're keeping it or we're letting it go. So drop all your questions on the platform and we'll respond to it there. I hope you've been able to get value this evening. I want to see, and both here and in the community, tell me, how has this conference been for you? Who are you bringing? Which of your friends is not here that you are bringing into this conference tomorrow? Because again, I keep saying it, you cannot implement on your own. You can't implement on your own. You need someone that is vibing on the same frequency as you so that when you're starting your implementation, you people can be throttling together. You can be throttling together. So make sure you come to class with someone tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be having three fantastic speakers. Now, I know there will be people on this call who have the most excellent technical skills. You know how to sew, pack cam, your sewing. When you do it, everybody will be standing up. But then you're not still making money. And it may just be because you haven't figured out how to get that thing you do seen. You see, shyness is not a fruit of the spirit. So, if you want to make money from fashion, you must be outside. We must be seeing you. Tomorrow, we're going to have two speakers exposing content creation for fashion business and influencer collaborations, how you collaborate, who you collaborate with, and what you should consider before alignment. And we're also going to be having the fashion business structure queen. So when we're talking about SOPs and and structure that you should put in your fashion business, Mazino is going to be taking it on tomorrow. So tomorrow we have a power-packed session. Let's assume today was Friday, people came off work and they didn't have time. So tomorrow, you see, the thing with these sessions is that you need to plan to attend them. Because if you don't plan to attend them, something will take you away. So you need to plan to attend them, and you need to come with your pen and notepad. You can see we all have our own. I have my own. I've been writing. You need to come with your pen and notepad, because so that when you hear the thing that concerns you, you will write it down. You will open your own book of remembrance for yourself, so that when you go back, you can implement. Thirdly, you need to have an implementation strategy. And that is why I have created the 12-in-1 guides. Those 12-in-1 guides are your implementation strategy. Because if you don't have an implementation strategy, like I keep saying, we'll just come here, we will talk, we'll feel good, we'll say, oh, this conference is so good, it's so good, it's so great, it's so great. But then you have nothing tangible to implement. You have nothing tangible to go back and say, okay, what can I now use to be able to do all these things that they've taught me? And so that is why, this implementation guide is very important. It's very important. These 12-in-1 guides are priced individually at 5,000 naira. Just so that I put it out there. They are priced individually at 5. So if you want to buy one each, there are 12 guides. You're going to be paying 60,000 naira. But at this conference, I'm giving them to the conference participant at 1,000 naira per guide. 1,000 naira. Even tape measure now, they're even selling it for 1,000. I don't even know. How many tapes do you buy for 1,000 naira? It is 1,000 naira per guide. 1,000 naira per guide. That transitions to 12,000. But you have to buy it in the bundle. If you're buying a single guide, you buy it at the single price. If you miss out on this offer and you come back and you say you will buy full price, no jokes. Like, I will even do as if I don't know you. You say, I was in your conference. I'll say, are you serious? So let's get these guides out to whoever needs them, and let's buy them. 11:59 or 11:59 on Monday nights, they are going to revert to original prices, and we're going to put everything you need to know to buy them in the group. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much, Munia. Thank you so much, everybody. This has been such an amazing session. Amazing session. Thank you so much. I have enjoyed every part of the conversations, and now let's bring it into the group. I want to see your testimonies, because we want to pepper the people that are not here, because if they are not here, why now? Why are they not here? So let's go into the group so you can share your testimonies about what you have learned this night. And I'll see you guys same time tomorrow, 6 p.m. Remember, we change the links after every slide, so you need to stay in the group so that you can switch links as we are dropping it. Thank you so much, everyone. See you guys on the platform. Have a good night.
I don't know what happened to my